Oh, hi, Ban. Firstly, I would like to thank you for agreeing to come and teach at IIAD. This is the first time for us. It's the first one. It's not the. It's just the beginning.
Yeah.
And I think it's a privilege for our students and an honor to sort of interact and get into the world of sound that you have taken them into.
So
let's
it's
just do,
a personal pleasure to be there.
No,
It's
that's-
like always great to work with younger lot and just see what's in their minds
no.
and in some way help them open their minds. So
and
thank
you do
you.
teach, and you do teach.
Yeah, yeah.
Otherwise, you
Yeah.
teach at Ashoka and
Yeah,
other
yeah,
places as
yeah,
well.
yeah. I teach. So even at Ashoka, my course is called Creative Music Exploration. So the idea is to sort of not really teach them music, but to more like critically open their minds and help them, or rather create a sort of a space where they can explore the idea of music and sound. Like what I start with this question, like what is music?
And so, is that how you approached it at IIAD as
Yes,
well?
yes, absolutely. So the first day what we did was we asked this question: what is sound? What is sound design? Is this like something that you want to like create? Is it interesting for the audience to listen to? So these are questions, and of course, like it'll take a lifetime for them to answer this.
Correct,
But
correct,
in
correct.
2 days, they sort of got a glimpse of what can be,
Or at least they were asked the right questions.
Or rather,
Right questions
yeah,
are
correct.
planted. I would like to go through the journey, your journey as a musician and as a
Right.
sound designer.
Right.
So, going back into your past, where did this whole khel begin? What was your first encounter, maybe as a child, where music came, and what grabbed you about it that you just sort of pursued that?
So no, but
Shuru
it's
kahan se?
interesting because as a child, I'm a Bengali, and in Bengali and in a lot of like Indian South Asian
Especially
households,
Bengali. Huh?
also like Bengalis are known for this like torture, like torturous childhood upbringing. कि आप या तो dance या music, you have to
Have to.
do it. But ये भी बताया जाता है कि you will not pursue this as a career.
तो ये कल्चर के थ्रू आया,
ये कहीं से घर पे आया.
घर पे आया.
Yeah, but because my entire family, they are either scientists or engineers or doctors or civil servants.
You're also an engineer. We'll come to that. Huh?
So that always took precedence over everything else. But you have to be good at like
One of those.
like quizzing, art, like space exploration, astronomy. So I joined an astronomers association, amateur astronomers association club at Nehru Planetarium. So as part of that, I used to play chess. I used to do quizzes. So then these were part of like
The upbringing.
I didn't want to. Like
didn't want
ऐसा नहीं
to.
था कि मुझे
करना है.
But somewhere, some of it, actually most of it now, I feel that, okay, I had the privilege of going through that as a, like since early childhood. And it's also a very, like sort of privileged thing that most Bengalis go through because this
That's true.
happens in
That's
a certain
true.
class
That's true.
and certain caste.
That's true.
It's like अब रविंद्रनाथ टैगोर के घर के बाहर टीचर्स की लाइन है तो वो तो
Right. तो पहला म्यूजिक कल्चर के थ्रू आया.
जो शायद एक्चुअली मैंने शायद नहीं लिया.
क्या उस समय भाया? नहीं शायद.
नहीं भाया क्योंकि it was more like forced.
Okay, and
Then actually I started like listening. I used to listen to a lot of like rock and metal because I didn't want to do classical. It was sort of a rebel in me. तो मैं late night channel भी.
Right.
So they used to play Iron Maiden and all these
Right,
like
yes.
anti-Christ,
Yes,
satanic
yes.
music. So I was drawn to that. And then college happened, DU. So DU was just like liberating for me. So I was like, ये क्या scene है? यहाँ पे theater, music, dance, like it was a completely different world for me. It was like I'm in this magic realism world where people are free. तो आप म्यूजिक भी कर सकते हो, आप पढ़ाई भी कर सकते हो, आप म्यूजिक भी कर सकते हो, उसके साथ ये भी होता है. So I was like, wow, yes. So there I had my first band, and that was so it was my peers and that sort of DU, that atmosphere, that environment, North Campus, that opened up
So did an instrument walk up to you, or did you walk up to an instrument?
That's interesting because I think I walked up to the classical guitar.
The classical guitar.
Yeah. Because that spoke to me, because I had a friend whose father was an artist and he's also an artist. He used to play the classical guitar and he used to paint. And his family used to grow a lot of, he teaches at Delhi School of Music now.
Acha.
And he's a very well-known classical guitar player. But back then in school, I was really intrigued and I used to really look up to him ये artist
ये होता है
आर्टिस्ट कि एक आप म्यूजिशियन आप क्लासिकल गिटार बजा रहे हो आप ड्राइंग पेंटिंग ये सब ही ऑल्सो वेंट टू कॉलेज ऑफ आर्ट आफ्टर दैट आफ्टर स्कूल अनफॉर्चुनेटली आई डिडंट गेट द chance to be like an artist like that. I got through engineering and back then DU was they started their first. So I was one of the experimental lab kids for the FIUP, the 4-year undergraduate program. So
at
I got
engineering college
at Delhi University.
At Delhi University.
So we were the first experimental 4-year batch.
What did you do at Delhi University?
So I did BIT. It's Bachelor of Information Technology.
Acha.
Yeah, so I got through. Yeah, it's like equivalent to a 4-year engineering degree. So I got through engineering college, but this I got IT, 4 years, DU, North Campus.
और क्या चाहिए?
So and that is where I discovered music, arts, theatre, all of this, and I was like, यही मेरी दुनिया है. बस वहाँ से वो हुआ. उसके बाद this life was moving, but this side I was secretly pursuing parallelly.
Correct.
Till a point where I was like, अब ये नहीं हो पाया. So now I had to. So 2009 I was working in Bombay, and I had to actually say goodbye to this part of life, corporate life.
But did the IT create a critical approach to things?
Yeah, actually, looking back at things, I think, so I was a science student, then computer science, then, did management as well. So I feel that somewhere it developed the curiosity in me to understand more. Like even music is actually a big part of music is physics.
Sound design come into the picture.
So I was playing in multiple bands. So I was playing in a rock band. I was playing the guitar. So I started with classical guitar, then I was playing the rock guitar, which was blasphemous enough for my time and my family and whatever. So then I started playing in a rock band. Then from rock I went to metal, which was even more blasphemous. तो मेरे को तो और मजा आ रहा था. So metal band में बजाया हमने. फिर we won a lot of competitions. We were touring all over India. We went to Canada. We were signed by a label in the US. उस time पे then I also got through this MBA program. So I had to sort of.
You left that and came back for MBA.
I did my MBA while they were exploring music. But I told them also when they were going to the US, I'm like, यार वहाँ पे 12 साल के बच्चे मेटल कर रहे हैं, हम 22-23 साल के बुड्ढे वहाँ जाके क्या मेटल बजाएंगे? Let's do something new.
Correct.
So, but वो नहीं हुआ. Also, that didn't work out. Unfortunately, I wouldn't say fortunately for me and unfortunately for them. It didn't work out for whatever reason. So they all came back.
While you were pursuing that.
While I was pursuing this. So then I was into music. Then I worked for a bit, then I went to Bombay. And then in Bombay, I actually realized, I went to Bombay, I took up a lower paying job. And this was MBA from one of the elite, Indian Institutes of Management.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, IIM you are. Oh, hello, sir.
नहीं, कोई बताना मत. ये बताना मत किसी, लखनऊ.
हाँ, सबने सुन लिया.
नहीं. So, but anyways, so this was, but yeah, so I went to Bombay, I took up a really low paying job because it was in media and I was in programming and they wanted me to take up more consulting jobs, would have paid a lot more money, but I didn't. So anyway, so in Bombay, I realized that, I have to do, because I would be working full day, it was a 9-to-5 job. I was the executive producer for 3 shows. Supposed to be the programming whatever head after that. But I was I used to see my guitar, I was lying and I used to really feel upset and I used to cry at night. I'm like, what am I doing with my life? This is my life. This is my, this has saved me so many times. So why am I here? I should be with my guitar. So I quit my job and I'm like, But in Bombay, it was really interesting because I met someone, because I didn't know what I was doing with my life. And I met someone and I'm like, यार समझ में नहीं आ रहा क्या चल रहा है. So this person said, yeah, if you remove what you don't want to do in your life, half the battle is won.
Correct.
Then you have the entire life to find what you want. You may never find it, but at least you will be on the
Correct. Yes.
path of happiness. So I was like,
Absolutely.
ठीक है, makes sense. I was like, चलो वो तो हटाए जो नहीं चाहिए. So ये सबसे पहले नौकरी हटाई. फिर उसके बाद then I was again playing back in the band scene. अच्छा, band scene is also, it looks very fancy, but it's actually as disillusioning as corporate life or any other life. Because वहाँ पे भी कुछ, it's not like bed of roses.
climbing.
Yeah, it's like hustling.
Full hustling. Yeah.
फाइटिंग ये वो कोई. तो आई एम लाइक यार ये इसके लिए मैंने नौकरी छोड़ दी तो वही कर लेता.
Correct.
हासिल ही करना था. यहाँ भी पैसे की बात, यहाँ भी लोग वही चेज कर रहे हैं एस्पिरेशंस एंड दैट. कोई आर्ट की बात कर ही नहीं रहा. So then I actually got very disillusioned with everything. Then I'm like, छोड़ो यार ये सब बेकार है. Then I started creating, like working on Dastan Live.
Okay.
And in my personal life, I'm like, अच्छा music से तो सिर्फ music में मेरे को happiness नहीं मिल रहा है. So then I started working with theatre people. So I started giving sound, like doing sound
Is
design.
that where sound design?
That's when I opened my field and started collaborating with other art forms and people.
So you as an artist was expanding.
Yeah. So I was like, maybe, yeah, that's an interesting question because I think what makes us think beyond our form?
Correct.
Is it boredom? Is it like disillusionment? There has to be a point at every
Boredom
point.
works. Yeah. Boredom really works.
So आप बोर हो गए किसी चीज से तो
आपको तो
तोड़ना है ना वो चेन. So then you will look for other spaces to do that. So band, I have always been like they say, once a rocker, always a rocker. तो band तो कभी छोड़ नहीं सकते, वो खून में. शुरू किया था band के साथ, वो तो जिंदगी मरते दम तक वो चलता रहेगा. Now even there I started expanding my personal artistic life or whatever. So then I started working with like theatre people, like puppet theatre, dancers, contemporary dancers, like visual artists, film documentaries. So that sort of opened my entire, because that completely gave me a new world, new canvas to draw, and new brush, new paints. Ab kya karu?
Correct.
Now, can I use this knowledge, like the knowledge from the world of music, to draw here? Maybe, maybe not. I have to completely approach this canvas differently. And there are many canvases. Puppet theatre में आप जाते हो वो तो पूरा form ही
अलग है.
आपका किसी और world में आप एक निर्जीव puppet like उसमें जीव डालने की कोशिश कर रहे हो. क्या sound है उसका?
Correct.
उसका क्या sound होगा? अब आप बैठे हो सोच रहे हो घंटों सोच रहे हो इसको मैं क्या sound दूंगा. फिर I worked with this time-lapse filmmaker, Anurag Jetli.
Oh, really?
So he made a film on clouds.
I've also worked with him.
He made a film on clouds. He just shot clouds in time-lapse. अब आप बैठे हो फिर सोच रहे हो यार ये तो clouds है. इसका क्या sound है?
That film on Delhi.
Delhi also, yeah. You worked on that?
No. We worked on one of my films.
Yeah. So he's a time-lapse.
He's a time-lapse man.
Guy. So he made a film called Mountain Clouds. So I did the score for that.
Achha.
But it's clouds.
Yes.
It's as abstract as clouds. उसमें क्या करोगे? So this pushed me to really go back inside, bring out something like just from I don't know where. But then what I then realized was going out of your comfort zone is so important.
Absolutely.
And collaborating with all kinds of artists, different kind of artists, it helps you look at your form constantly. So much so that right now I'm part of this Fluxus artist scene. Okay. So Fluxus was this big postmodern Dada movement that originated in New York. 70s, 60s.
60s.
Yeah. So now my teacher is Michael Harrison, who's the student who learned from Lamont Young, who was one of the founders of Fluxus.
Okay.
So now this entire New York scene, Fluxus scene, now this is again taking me back. So every time I work with artists like from interdisciplinary spaces. I'm going actually back to zero, so I'm constantly reinventing the wheel.
What fun. Huh.
Now, at this point.
And you enjoy this.
I love it.
This is the process.
I am just loving it. The fact that I'm learning. Like I'm sitting there like a child who has gone there to learn music for the first time. It's my first day. And I'm learning hedgy notation. I'm like, wow, I knew notation. What is this? I'm learning Johnson notation. I'm learning just intonation. I'm learning there can be 31 notes in a scale. I'm like, ये क्या है? एक सेकंड. ये क्या है? हमने 12 नोट सुने थे. ये 31 कहाँ से आ गए? Then I'm learning about new like technologies. Like I'm learning about coding in music.
Are you doing that kind of stuff?
I'm trying everything.
You're trying everything.
I always like I told the kids here as well. When you're going into a workshop space, you have to keep emptying your glass.
Correct.
Otherwise, you'll never be able to.
That's a very nice one. Okay.
You'll never be able to get new. So I am just like emptying it, drinking it, putting it somewhere, getting a new glass, so that I can take as much as I can.
And now in this entire journey, the self journey that you're talking about, at which point do you think does academics come in?
So for me, actually this, like I'm not...
Did you want to do it?
Yeah, I really want to do it now because I would like to call myself a practitioner pedagogue.
Okay.
Because my relationship with academics comes from my practice.
Correct.
And my practice comes from my engagement with like all these forms that I'm doing. Like for instance, the what I'm learning with these New York Fluxus scene guys. I don't think I have ever seen anything like that here happening in India. Like I was telling you, John Cage set up a Moog lab at IIAD, which is a design school, in 1970s. They didn't know what to do with it.
Correct.
So it was dismantled and in 2 years. Now imagine if they knew or if someone knew what to do with it. Correct. Today we would have a Moog lab in India,
right,
set up at one of the most premier institutes in South Asia, all of the world maybe.
Yes.
A Moog lab set up by John Cage in India. It's like setting up, I don't know, like I don't want to compare it to ISRO or Chandrayaan or anything, but it's pretty big.
In the sound space.
It's massive.
Yeah.
So I want to bring this knowledge, and this is not just information, it's knowledge. Information is available, like I tell my students as well. For information, you don't need to go to a college.
So I'll just throw a word at you. Uttaradaitva. Do you think it's your Uttaradaitva?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It is my Uttaradaitva to bring this knowledge and make it accessible.
Make it accessible.
Because we also, like my partner works in Nizamuddin.
Right.
And she has been working there for the last 15 years. And the kids have really, like she uses theatre. So somewhere I feel that like it's her Uttaradaitva to take the kids who are there with her from, I'm not saying that from Nizamuddin to GK. From Nizamuddin,
yes.
like जिसका the elevation of the mind. उन बच्चों ने कॉलेज किया, उनकी फैमिली में किसी ने कॉलेज नहीं किया.
Correct.
अब यहाँ पे जिसने गिटार सीखा है, जिसको पता ही नहीं है कि गिटार के beyond what's the world.
Right.
It's my Uttaradaitva to show them कि गिटार के beyond.
Open those windows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a massive world that's waiting for you with open arms. Go and grab it.
That is what excites you about the whole
Of course.
teaching pedagogy.
Yes.
What would be your most favorite project of your life so far?
Actually, okay, that's actually a tough one to decide because all these projects have been somewhere. It's like babies, you're choosing from which one's your most favorite.
How many babies do you have that with them?
Quite a lot.
Quite a lot.
Yeah.
So you can't really pinpoint.
Yeah. It's also not fair to pinpoint, but I would say that what's been interesting for me to work on, like for instance, Dastan Live, this live performance art project that I founded. So that was sort of like I wanted to react on the socio-political things that were happening around us. I'm not a politician. I'm not मेरे से भाषण नहीं दिया जाता. So I thought, what can I do? I'm an artist. I'm a musician.
Correct.
So then I started composing songs by Shaaz Ahmed, Sahil Ludhianvi, all the progressive poets, writers who have been in this part of the world. post and pre independence.
With Sahir?
So Sahir we have Taj Mahal.
अच्छा.
So ताज तेरे लिए मज़हर उल्फत ही सही, तुझको इस वादी रंगी से अकीदत ही सही, मेरे महबूब कहीं और मिला कर मुझसे. ये चमंजार, ये जमुना का किनारा, ये महल, ये मुनक्कश, ये दरो दीवार, ये मेहराब, ये ताक, एक शहंशाह ने हम गरीबों की मोहब्बत एक शहंशाह ने हम गरीबों की मोहब्बत का उड़ाया मजाक. मेरे महबूब कहीं और.
Okay, then we need to hang out, man. हाँ, I know. Okay.
So imagine like कौन किसने लिखा है? Like ताज के बारे में आपने हजारों.
So now you're talking about Dastan Live and how you brought the socio-political aspect as an artist
into through music.
Through music
and poetry.
So let's just talk a little bit more about this. Your perspective on Dastan Live and how you're doing this.
So Dastan Live basically it started with an idea that I wanted to do something about or talk about whatever's going wrong in our society around us in the South Asian context. So I basically and I wrote some songs myself as well. I wrote one thing which was around aspiration. It was called Dhoonde. So खो गए हम कहाँ इन ऊंचे महलों के निशा, ढूंढे आशियाँ ढूंढे अपना जहाँ. So and then obviously like you know having poetry by Shaaz Ahmed, like फिलिस्तीनी बच्चे के लिए लोरी, we composed कुत्ते, we composed बोल के लब.
Wow.
And then Baba Nagarjun, Sahil Ludhianvi. We have so many poets who have written such posh.
Yes.
सबसे खतरनाक होता है हमारे सपनों का मर जाना.
Right.
So then I was like यार इतना कुछ तो है. Why can't I compose and work with this? So then I started working with musicians. So Nikhil Vasudevan, who is like, I mean, I've been playing with him for the last now 13-14 years. So with him, I started like jamming on these things. Then we had like a group of people who were very who had a similar like ideological sort of idea of all the socio-political stuff that's happening around us. So we got a bunch of we gathered a motley crew of people. So not just musicians, these were people from the world of theatre. These were people from the world of visual art. So Yashish Chandra was doing the live projections. We had lighting designers who were actually creating their own sets. So we built our own sets. We did about 35 shows, all grounds up. So the idea was also to not just challenge the status quo socio-politically, but also challenge how art is presented and done and created. So we created our own sets, our own idea of show. We went to alternative spaces. We planted the show there. So our first show was called Surviving Democracy, which is
Is that the one you performed at Serendipity?
Also, yeah. Actually, it was really funny because in Goa, when they approached us, they had seen the show twice before that and they loved it. So they were like, would you perform for us? Because we usually didn't want to do festivals. We wanted to produce our own shows. We wanted to go to alt spaces and create our own show. Like at IIAD, we mapped the entire wall, projection map. And we were playing like that. Those things really inspired us to do more shows. So even in Goa, we told them there's an abandoned dockyard if you go from the airport towards Panjim. So on your left, there's an abandoned ship dockyard. So we're like, यार यहाँ करते हैं. एक ship के ऊपर we'll plant a show and we'll call people here and you guys can do it because you guys are in Goa. But they're like नहीं stage पे. So we never wanted to do a proscenium show, but we ended up doing a proscenium show and there was a big ruckus after.
Now, so the relevance of sound design, not sound design, but the relevance of sound in this whole business of communication design. हाँ तो बात हुई ना. That's the answer. That's the answer. Yeah. Okay.
But
cheers.
अब इसका interpretation आप कुछ भी कर सकते हो.
और कुछ भी कर सकते हो.
और कुछ भी कर सकते हो.
Correct.
और यही चीज़ अगर sound आपको convey करे.
Correct. Oh, beautiful, brilliant. Oh, brilliant.
क्योंकि even not having sound creates a certain sound.
Yes.
But interpretation can be different.
Right.
Like उसमें आप सोच सकते हो बड़ा arrogant आदमी है.
Correct.
मैंने एक सवाल पूछा जवाब नहीं दिया.
Correct.
मैं बोलूँगा मैंने तो जवाब दिया था. आपने सुना नहीं.
आपने सुना नहीं. Correct.
Because communication I feel like हम लोग भी तो communicate कर रहे हैं ना.
बिल्कुल.
Everybody is communicating. Like आप musician हो, आप puppet theater.
So would you say,
Yeah.
in fact, what we just did,
Yeah.
would you say that sound brings clarity? Sound brings direction? Sound, otherwise it leads to multiple interpretations? Otherwise your communication in terms of design, or let's say, simply, like let's say film or cinema, okay?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that as a medium of communication design. The clarity, or because when we teach film or cinema or animation, we always tell our students to their whatever that sound is 50%, 60%.
Yeah.
Okay, तुम कुछ भी कर लो, in the end sound will come and guide the path.
Yeah.
Okay. So is sound that thing which reveals?
I feel personally like because sound is my world, I will be biased about this when I say this. But I feel sound like listening is one of the strongest senses that we have.
Yes, we do.
Like seeing and listening combined.
Yeah.
I think it's more than say taste, smell and touch.
Yes, it is.
I can be biased.
It is.
I'm saying this is not a fact.
No, I'm on the other side. I'm not into the world of sound, and but I'm jealous of musicians because I don't have to switch on a phone or my television or go to an auditorium. I can just be sitting here, and when Jagrata is happening outside, she's coming to me.
Yeah.
You know,
it's in us.
It's there. Okay, वो आ रहा है. मैं सुनना चाहूँ ना चाहूँ. So that medium is more powerful than Mr. Ray's medium. You know?
In fact, it's really interesting you say that because there's a silent room in the US where actually the most, I think it's 20 seconds that people have been inside the silent room.
They can't, huh?
Cannot.
Acha.
It's that powerful. Whereas if I create darkness around us, and people have, like even in our, like people have lived through darkness throughout.
Correct.
But something is, it's about sound that it drives you to madness, the lack of it.
Oh, brilliant.
Silent, like a silent world is, so I actually, you know, even when you are like, say, people who are deaf and dumb, even with the touch and sense, when people are feeling, they're feeling vibrations. And vibration is what creates sound.
Yes.
So it's the vibration in mediums, in air, in body, in solid, liquid.
Right.
It's that vibration that converts to sound. And that's what goes inside our ears, and the vibrations are, it's actually vibrations.
Yes, it is.
And I feel that if you take that away, I think the world, I don't know, for me it won't make any sense.
Correct.
I don't know what will happen if like Beethoven was almost recreated.
But I think there was too much practice for Beethoven.
Vibrations, that's what I'm saying.
The practice was so high that
it was in, like the notes were
अंदर था वो, सब कुछ अंदर.
under, and somewhere it's that relationship with, because the world of sound, we are all like you know, it's like I don't know what it'll be without.
Correct.
Like,
Correct.
It'll just be like, I don't know, like earth without air.
Yeah.
Very bad analogy.
How was your experience interacting with the students of communication design in the Institute of Art and Design?
I actually loved the students, and thanks to Anant and Ikroop for actually helping me out with like being there, and like, you know, we engaged in such amazing discussions, and thank you for actually inviting me
my pleasure,
for this.
my honor.
No, I love, like I said, you know, this is something. Also, another thing is like no one is actually doing this in the country today. like in terms of doing something around sound and giving me the complete freedom to actually take the students on.
No, we wanted you to come for
sound.
more days. You are busy.
I'll come back. I'll be back. So I feel that there are very few spaces that are actually thinking about this, and thanks for IIAD, thanks to you for creating this program in around film, because I feel that this is a powerful medium, and sound does like take the story along with visuals. Sound does act as a co-director to direct this story.
It does.
And it's a very powerful sort of medium, and thank you for trusting me to actually like be here. And I love the students. I loved like they were listening. They were sort of they were working on their assignments. They will be working on more assignments. They made films, small films, short clips. I showed them, took them through a journey of like experimental sound possibilities. What can be, what should be, what should not be, what cannot be, and all these like questions. Again, going back to what is sound, what is interesting.
Correct.
So asking the right questions, maybe, hopefully, because visual art, like your form, in the core of it has like abstraction in it. Sound में बड़ा मेहनत करना पड़ता है to open the minds, because otherwise people are sort of, there are very fixed ideas about sound and music. What is sound? What is music? तो थोड़ा सा धक्का मारना पड़ता है. So, but thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Pleasure. In fact, I was slightly nervous, and very frankly, the first break that you took, and we met outside for chai.
Yes.
And you said, I love interacting with design kids. Okay.
Yes.
And I felt very shant. Arey.
Yeah.
He knows. This guy knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And in my heart, I knew that this bunch is a good bunch.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was very glad that this interaction could happen.
Yeah.
And thank you so much.
Thank you.
We will see you again soon for a longer duration.
For sure. Yes. Milte hain.
Thank you.